Hi, this is Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. Today I'm going to talk about polyphosphates from plastics in organic approved plastic mulches and PVC pipes that are leaching into the environment and are super toxic to humans and all life. So polyphosphates are what you think, why are polyphosphates in plastics? Well, polyphosphates are the chemicals that are in insecticides that cause neurological disorders, cancer, all kinds of stuff. And they excrete or they cause behavioral problems and neurological deficits in children. And I'm like, well, why are polyphosphates in plastics? So I had to do some looking, but I found it. And it turns out that the polyethylene that they say is safe, the polyethylene mulch and the polypropylene shade cloth and the polypropylene containers and basically every piece of plastic contains fire retardants. And that's what the polymer is. It's a fire retardant, and that's where you get the polyphosphates from. Polyphosphate is a fire retardant. It's derived from phosphoric rock that they do a acid transformation on to make super phosphorus, which is non-flammable. And then that's what they use in fire retardants. They put it in plastics. They put it in all plastics. And they've shown that the plastics that they use on the shade cloth that's approved for organic, the organic approved, they say no vinyl chloride in the shade cloth. Yeah, but you're letting plastics, polyethylene alone isn't causing it, but they put a layer of polyphosphate or polyphosphate polymers inside between the layers of polyethylene to keep it from catching fire or heating up too much when it's got sun on it. And I'm not even going to talk about the UVA additives, but those are like super horrible too. So these plastics, they excrete an estrogen, hormone estrogen-like substance that they, in sea turtles, when they're eating plastics, and when they heat up, they get worse. So because of that, they figure is why the sea turtles are all turning female. Seems like what's going on here too, huh? But yet we're afraid of transgendered people, but it's because of the pollution, probably a lot of it. Some of it I'm sure is natural, but if it's doing it to the sea turtles and it affects all life the same, it's definitely doing it to the human population. And so rather than going after people's differences, we need to look at the root cause of this, and it's the polyphosphates that they put in fertilizers. So yeah, they're in fertilizers also. Well, superphosphate is, which breaks down into polyphosphates with esters from the soil and alcohols from the soil. So then the organic people, I'm just looking at stuff as I walk. I have to get my teeth, 2 crowns put on. So the organic people let you use PVC pipe in hydroponic systems. PVC pipe is polyvinyl chloride, in case you haven't figured that out, which you don't allow in the mulch, but you allow it in the transfer of water and to put your plants in. PVC also contains polyphosphate, and it leaches into the water. There's a major and a really horrible problem going on with the plastics, and I give the US probably 20 years before it's probably not going to be able to focus on anything but the health problems in America, which is caused by plastics. So I have to get my crowns put on because when I started grinding my teeth in the 80s when they started using glyphosate probably. Glyphosate is got, You know, the pH in glyphosate is from polyphosphate for sure, or superphosphate. Polyphosphate, because it's an insecticide. You have to be a chemist to figure this stuff out. My brother and sister both have degrees in chemistry. It never really interested me until I realized that our man-made problems, health problems, is caused by modern chemicals that we've created and have been putting in our system for 70 years. And for the organic, USDA Organic to say that you can use polyethylene plastic mulch, which breaks down into nanoparticles in the soil, which create polyphosphate, which is what they use to kill bugs. It's killing us. And so my teeth that I ground, which I stopped doing when I stopped eating at restaurants more than 3 years ago. This cacao has fruit on it. This is all dry farm. We dry farm everything. The solution is just natural growing is the solution to all these problems. That's why it's all connected. And that's why I speak up. I just love Florida so much, and it's so easy to grow here organically. And for them to say that you can't grow organically here was just the big lie. It's the easiest place in America, and Florida should be the organic super powerhouse example for the world to see. But instead, they brainwashed everyone through neurological deficits from polyphosphate in everything, fertilizers, plastics, everything, bug sprays. You know, in Florida, they just put them in everything. The orange juice, I'm sure, has it. It's just like, it's scary. So 30 years ago, I started grinding my teeth and had to get all these crowns. And I did it for 30 years ago. Since the 80s, I guess it's almost 40 years. And when I stopped eating at restaurants, I stopped grinding my teeth. And I just was like, well, what is causing this? I thought it was the chemicals. Well, it is the chemicals, because chemical fertilizers can contain superphosphate, which, that's what the P is, it's superphosphate. When you put nutrients in out of balance ratios, you're going to wind up with health problems. So when it breaks down, it goes into your plant and you eat it, it's polyphosphate, which is a known neurological impairment chemical. So I started making salsa just recently with tomatoes that are probably hydroponically grown, that use polyethylene type mulch because they think it's safe, which it's not, because it has a layer of polymers made out of polyphosphate, which leach into the water, and PVC pipes, which hold the plants upright. Polyvinyl chloride is what PVC stands for, Organic Association, in case you haven't figured that out. It's not organic, and I started grinding my teeth when I ate these things. And I'm so glad I finally figured out it's a neurological disorder from consuming plastic, the polyphosphate plastics. You know, the bug sprays, that's what it is. They put insecticides in fertilizers. They don't call it insecticides, they call it superphosphate, but it turns into insecticides. Just the whole thing is just really sad. And it seems like California, I have to go to California for our information because they ban all toxic stuff and they're phasing out plastics. And New York, it seems like the liberal states are the ones that are on top of protecting the people. For some reason, they equate protecting the people with liberalism, which is another way to say that you can't grow organic in Florida. Just a different form of it. Why would they ever say that? I mean, that was common knowledge when I moved here. That's what I was told by everyone. You can't do it. This isn't California. There's no nutrients in the soil. Yeah, and because of your overuse of nutrients, the other nutrients are unavailable to the plants, which cause disease. So the polyphosphates cause diseases in plants that's detrimental to all life. It needs to be stopped instantly. The EPA has been taken over by the chemical companies in the pesticide department, and the USDA Organic has also. You can't trust them. You can't trust them to do the right thing, obviously. It's not that hard to figure out. If I was able to figure it out, other people could figure it out. So discouraging. I gotta calm down before I go to the dentist. It's just like, oh my God, what in the hell have they done to the world? These chemical companies. They made everyone dumb so they don't care, and then they're so inflamed they get angry, and then they have politicians that incite them over stupid things like transgendered people, which is caused by the plastic pollution. For sure. If there's, I mean, I don't see tons of transgender people, but I do see some here and there, but they don't bother me. I mean, I always let people do what they want. They're not after their kids. They're after getting fake tits and having reconstructive surgery. Guaranteed the transgendered people that have their testicles removed are not into sex. So it's just so bizarre. Let's fix the problems together. And it's the plastic. Let's get on our government officials and tell them to do their jobs. I mean, why is our governor never here when this major pollution problem is going on in our water and in our air here in Florida? I mean, I say I want to move and I'd like to sell this place, but for some reason I feel like I'm supposed to be here and I'm supposed to be doing this. I tried to stop, but the direction that it pushes me in, this property, it seems to be to help human and mankind with the problems that is being created by the plastic, which is going to destroy humanity in less than probably 50 years, I would guess. And we're going to take down everyone else with it, all the life. It's called the Plasticine era. Oh, so disgusting. I figured I have thyroid disease. I figured I got my thyroid disease because I used to, since I was a small child, my parents gave me seeds to plant a vegetable garden. And so that's what I always did. That's how I've always known that cow manure was used to grow plants, because it was the 60s and 70s. And I would go out and, I would water because the vegetables, and I would drink out of the hose, which was made of polyvinyl chloride, which had, flame retardants in it that was polyphosphate, which is a hormone disruptor. And it would get hot. When the polyvinyl chloride hose would get hot, I would try to run it out, and I could smell the fumes as a child, and I would still drink out of it. But I'm fairly certain that that's where I got my thyroid disease from, my hypothyroidism. Same with the sea turtles, why they're all going female. Yeah, it's the heat, but it's the heat that affects the plastic that causes the chemicals, the polyphosphate to react and excrete, and the chemicals that excrete the synthetic hormone estrogen. It's in everything. It's you can't get away from it. The PBA, which everyone's so afraid of, it's in everything. It's just they call it PBS now, so they changed the name. Biphenyl S rather than biphenyl A. Because it takes like 20 years or so for them to figure out that biphenyl S is more toxic probably than the BPA. So that's what's in your plastic bags. That's what's in your mulch, your plastic mulch. That's what's in your plastic shade cloth. All this stuff is approved for organic, growing organically, which is why organic is going by the wayside and why everyone needs to start trying to grow as close to natural as possible. Nature is the only thing that is going to be able to buffer all these pollutants from plastic. and probably not for that much longer. I give it 20 years. I hope and I pray that enough people get on board and throw away their plastic and try to limit its use and stop using PVC. PVC is in all the water pipes. That's why they don't say anything about it. They just assume you continue on rather than scare everyone. The EPA is not here to help anybody. They're here to help themselves. I'm sure they get money from the lobbyists, the people that work there, that make decisions. They'd have to, for them to allow fertilizers, water-soluble fertilizers, and plastics in organic agriculture. Anyway, y'all seem to like these videos about pollution and a little bit about plants. I grow naturally. I grow as close to nature as possible. It's not the cow manures that's causing the problem. It's the way the cows are being raised. And in feedlots and in dairies where the large groups of cattle are put together, and then they put all the manure in a big pile. The biodynamic people are probably the best, but they wanted me to make big piles of compost. And if I couldn't make big piles of compost, I could import up to 85 pounds of nitrogen per acre per year. We apply with our little zebus 29 pounds of nitrogen. But then UFL, I had to say UFL, because they're part of the problem too, because they're the ones that teach stuff, and they're the ones that haven't said that organic is very easy here. They're still trying to figure out how to grow organic for some reason. Maybe they should call me and try to come by here and see what we've done here. Anyway, this is Florida Natural Farming at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and I hope you try to create a healthy planet and in turn create a healthy space for yourself and your children. Have an excellent day.